So then, tell me a bit about the process of going from student to career.
Well, it's crazy because I didn't even I can't say I didn't try to be a model. It's just that I was studying special care. Like me and my family, my growing up, my parents had a home daycare. So like not only like I'm the oldest of 5 kids, but we had a home daycare too. So like the way we were set up, we had like 2 apartments, and then we had a door in between. So we had like a huge ass apartment, and then the other side was a daycare. And yeah, for sometimes I used to work there, and then I got all my CPR, my first aid certification to be able to like work at the daycare, and then from there, I started working at centers and at schools, and yeah, I was like working at camps as well. So I wasn't trying to work in fashion. I was trying to work with kids. Like I I feel like I say this on every interview, but I like to say that I'm a big kid because like I like to have fun. I like to like enjoy life, and I feel like kids are like so much. They're just the youth, you know. They're the future. I don't know. I don't know. It's everything to be a part of like a child's life and leave an impact, a positive impact. I feel I don't know. It's one of the it's kind of a part of leaving a legacy, being able to like affect the next generation in a positive way. So I never like really tried to like end up in fashion, and then I was what? Then I was like 15, 16, like finishing high school, and then I did my first like charity. It's like a charity. It was a charity fashion show and like at the city hall, and like with all the like it was all black. It was all black. It was all like from like the Caribbean kids, the African kids. Like we made a really cool show at the city hall, and that was my first experience of like, as a model, blah blah blah. But I wasn't like real modeling, and then from that. Uh, After I finished high school, I was still studying to do special care counseling and everything, and I was modeling on. I got my first modeling contract. It wasn't really good. Like a year after I got signed, the agency closed. I got lucky. Like I went there because a girlfriend of mine at the time, she was a model, and she told me, yeah, come in, because I think they're gonna like you. So I went there. I think she kind of like left her book on purpose for me to like, for me to bring it there. And then I went there, and yeah, they signed me on the spot. They're like, oh, you're cool, and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, oh shit, cool, thank you. And then yeah, a year later, they were shut down. So a year later, they closed. So I was like, okay, well, let's see. I tried other agencies and blah blah blah, and I tried another one. I stayed with them for a little while, and this is all in Canada, and they weren't really good. So I think they weren't really good. So I think they dropped. I can't remember if they dropped me or if I left. I can't even remember. But yeah, that stopped, and then afterwards, yeah, I didn't work for another year, and then maybe 2009, because when I first signed, it was 2007, and 2009 is when I got my real modeling contract in Canada, and that's when I started Essence.com, like the online, the e-com shop. So like started like doing that, and so get me a little money on the side. So it was crazy back then. I was like doing modeling on the side. I was doing my classes for SCC, special care counseling, and and I was working like at H&M at the same time. So I was like doing all that, and I was like just like trying to like make it, trying to give money to my parents and everything, because I'm the oldest of 5 kids, and I'm African, you know. So you have to help the family. It's in the culture, you know. So I did all that, and afterwards, like I was like, okay, I kind of mastered Canada. Like I mastered Montreal. Like everybody knows me as a model. I'm making decent money as a model over there. Blah blah blah. Like for Canada's, what's it called? for Canada back then and everything. I was making like a decent money for like a 19, 20 year old. So I was like, let me go to New York now. Let me try to go to New York. I go to New York the first time. Nobody wanted to sign me. I'm like, damn. I'm like, I must be ugly or something. I was like, damn. So I was kind of like, oh man, probably. I was like, oh, I don't know, this is different. Like the world's different out there. So afterwards, I was like, I still believed it. So I was like, I took a vacation to Paris, and I tried it, and I went to Paris, and nobody signed me either. I was like, damn, for real? Like, you guys are for real? Like, what? Like, look at me here. Like, what? So I was like, okay, cool. And I can't remember, it was the first time, I know in 2011, yeah, and then, because I didn't get signed until 2012. So and then 2011, I got the Septum Ring in Paris. While I went to try to get an agency and nobody took me, that's when I got the Septum Ring. And after that, came back to Canada, kept working at H&M and blah, 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 still working as a model on the side and blah, 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 and still doing my SEC side on the stuff, my SEC things on the side. And then 2011, I went back to New York. I think I was a little skinnier. I had Septum Ring. I was in my hipster phase, you know. And then I went back and like 4 or 5 agencies wanted to sign me, and I was like, what changed? I had to get a Septum Ring for you to sign me. That's all I had to do, and lose a little weight. And like after that, like, really what happened, cause like how modeling works, like you go to agencies to like try to like have them sign you or blah, 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 unless like somebody like discovers you on the street or like gives you their card or something. And so like I did like, okay, well, I'm doing well in Canada, let me go check in New York. So I went to a couple places, and my agency in Canada set up the appointments, and I went to DNA, and back then there was Yaga and Kendall back there, and they were bookers, and they were like, oh man, we really like your look, like you're really cool and blah blah blah, and they sent me on 2 castings, and I wasn't under their agency or anything, so they're like, just send me 2 castings for Fashion Week, and then I booked them both, but I didn't have the agency. I still had my pictures from Canada and blah, blah, blah. And then I booked them both. It was like, I think it was DKNY and probably like Tommy or something. But like, it was like, my first season in New York. I was like, oh yeah. And they're like, after that, they signed me the next day. Like, cause they couldn't sign me on the spot cause one of the booker was missing. So they signed me on the next day, and like, I started. And then that's when I started like working in New York. But it's crazy because when I flew there, I was planning on like just going to New York and check it out. So I legit had like 2 t-shirts and a couple underwears, and I was walking around like doing castings, and they wanted me to stay a whole like week and a half, and I was like, dude, I don't even have enough stuff or enough money to stay here a week, and they didn't really care. They put you like in a model's apartment where you're sharing a room with like 5 other guys, and then you just walking around. Like, it's cool saying that you're making Fashion Week, you're doing Fashion Week, but like your first Fashion Week as a new face with no money, it's not fun, man. It's not fun.
How did it feel? I mean, this is definitely a remarkable story. How did it feel when it started to work?
It's crazy because it really took a while until it started to work. I feel like it only just started to work like lately, like in the past maybe 2-3 years. Because even though like you start working, you don't start seeing the money necessarily, because most of your modeling jobs are T30s. Just so like, even like sometimes not even they're 390s even sometimes. So you could wait 60 to 90 days before you get paid, you know? And it's like, I did first, like the early jobs are like maybe like 2-3K. It's like, I did a 2K job, but I'm not seeing this money until like for the next 3 months. So what do I do in the meantime? I have bills, I have the phone, I have food, like I have to walk around. I have to get to other castings and stuff like that. So, and that was like, and that was for years. Like, dude, like my first fashion week in Milan, I had no money, and I was like, I had to walk to every casting, and I had like 10 castings every day, and I had to like walk. I had to like map it out, walk to the first casting. It was so hot too, so like I had to like walk around with a towel, keep a t-shirt on the side so I would like be presentable when I get there, you know, trying to make black people look good, you know, when I get there. So yeah, so I was walking around like just sweating through the city for like weeks. Like the thing that saved me, there was a market where like eggs were like 99 cents, like milk was like, well, in euros, milk was like 40 cents, and like I was like, damn, thank you, Lord. So I had like I had like maybe $100, not even, and like that was like all I could use for the whole time. And I'm like, I barely had $100, to be honest. so like yeah. So and the thing is, when you do all these trips like Fashion Week, flying to Milan, like you're paying for this. It's coming out of your own pocket. There's nobody like. I had to pay for my flight there, which was like maybe $1,000 something, $2,000 round, because it's a round trip flight to Milan, and you're there for like a week or two, and then once you get there, you have to pay for your accommodation, which the agency is going to advance you while you're there, but they're going to get back from your account, you know, so you're still in the negative for such a long time. So like male models, because we're in the only industry where women make more than us. We're in the only industry in which women make more than us. So yeah, like at the beginning we struggle a little, you know, like it's just that we are in the only industry in which women make more than men, and it's a beautiful thing. But at the beginning, male models, it's a young man's job, so like you struggle a lot at the beginning. You can't, or it's a job that you need to have a certain amount of money to be able to do. It's like any business. You need to put in money to make money, basically. So yeah, you have to like pay for all these flights and hotels and your food and making sure you look good and all that, and coming home and still paying your bills and everything. So there's no real financial stability until you're at this point where people actually recognize you and people are constantly booking you, you know, because. And I also came in an era where I came in before social media was really a big thing, and black models weren't really working that much. So we were still being a breakthrough, or like, oh, there's a black model doing this, oh, and there's a black model doing that. So like having a couple of us in shows and in campaigns and things like that was still like a big thing. It was still like it was still a breakthrough in the fashion industry and for the culture and all of that. So it was harder back then. Like I feel like I definitely work more now because people know me a little more, and I've been working for 10 years now. I've been a model for 10 years. I've been modeling for 10 years, and yeah, like I'm at the point where like I've been consistently booked, but it took a while before it actually felt like that, and I feel like being a model is never enough. It's not gonna be enough. It's not really who I am. It was my job for so long. Like being a model was never enough. It's not really who I am. It's just been my job for so long. It's not me. It's like it was my profession, you know? So I feel like, yeah, I'm always gonna like be modeling, because like at the end of the day, like any endorsement deal, like, you take a picture is basically modeling, you know? But I feel like there's something that I've always been bigger than just the model, you know? It's a job, you know? It's a job, and everybody's bigger than their job, you know? Modeling is a lot of waiting, to be honest. It's a lot of, you deal with a lot of rejection and things like that, and it kind of builds your character because you're used to people that are telling you no at a certain point. So